Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Junk to Jewels podcast with Georgette Beck. Thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're listening or watching, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, I have a jewel, a gem of a woman with me, and I'm so excited to introduce her to you, Joanna Lee Kilgore. She is a second-generation photographer, a third-generation artist, and she is obsessed with that craft. She is really, really talented, and wait till you get to know her. She has been photographing everything she could since she was a little girl. She's putting up images on her walls since like 11 years old. So this was her passion from day one. And she believes that it's the mission of the artist to reveal the truth. We have the eye, so they must help others to truly see ourselves for who we really are. And I love that. As God sees you, she sees you too. And she wants you to see that as well. I had the pleasure of meeting Joanna in our community. And I have to tell you, she did photography work with me. She did a whole bunch of series as part of her Women of Wisdom project. And she's going to share more about that with you. But this is in a local magazine. So shout out to you, Joanna, for that. If you haven't heard, I just published and released a book, Junk to Jewels. So it is an awesome faith story. If you need some inspiration, encouragement, if you're in a tough time, a tough season, or if you're going through a divorce or a loss of any kind, this will encourage you. So check it out. It's at Amazon, and you can learn more at our website, georgettebeck.com. Joanna, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
I love it when I get to meet people that inspire me. Just so you know, many years ago, I still pray this prayer. God, I want to meet people from all over the world. I want to meet artists and singers, musicians, writers, authors, business people, entrepreneurs. And guess what? He's surrounding me with all these kinds of people. And I got to see you in person and get to know you. And your heart is amazing. Your heart is amazing. I walked into your studio and I was just humbled by what I saw. And I showed up for a photography session with Joanna. And if you read my book, you'll learn the whole story of my background. But I do come from a background of not knowing my worth or value, not being seen. I felt the odd one out, invisible, and just no self-esteem at all. So I couldn't even look at people in the eye, really. And so I used to cover up with my hair for years and years. But God healed me through the years. And walking into Joanna's studio, she did see me. And now I get the beautiful, artistic, high professional, oh my gosh, photos. I have a book and digital, and I get to walk by those pictures and own it. I owned it because I saw it, and God had to heal my insides, but he used your hands and heart and talent to really give me something that I can remind myself visually that this is the truth. I am a beautiful woman of God. I am created in his image, and I'm getting goosebumps as I say this, but it's oh my gosh, I'm getting flooded. It's a powerful thing, Joanna. What you're doing is you're helping women and others see the truth of them, whatever their mind had told them through the years. And so I'm just blessed to know you. So thank you. So share it. Tell us where you come from. Where are you from originally? Tell us about your family and some of your upbringing, and go ahead.
Well, I'm number 2 out of 5 kids. I was raised just south side of the city of Atlanta. So in various parts, College Park, Forest Park, and most recently Stockbridge. And my family was highly creative and talented, a lot of ADHD, probably some spectrum stuff. And my father struggled to hold a job, so we were homeless multiple times growing up. So you learn how to adapt and figure things out a lot as a kid when you're in those kind of situations. But my parents were really loving people, and they did their best to keep the family together and keep us focused on God as best they could.
So you had faith at a young age.
Yeah. I got saved around 5 years old, baptized around 7, rededicated at 14, and did my best to stay the course with a few bumps in the road.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be bumps. We all know that. There are a lot of bumps. I love rededicated at 15, you said?
Yeah. Around 15, 14, right in there.
Yeah. That's powerful. That is really powerful. So, yeah. Loving parents, artistic, creative folks, and you got their genes for sure, the loving part and the creative part. And I think some of what you learned as a child, as rough as that was, like, I think it added to the fiber of what you try to help others see and do.
Well, so there's been a lot of things that have happened in life where it felt like I was trying, because I had big dreams very young. And every time I would try to go after those dreams, something would happen to knock me down. It was like getting caught in the waves and, like in the pool of things. When you stand up, you get sucked down, you get smashed with a wave. And every time you stood up or tried to, I'd get smacked down again and drugged back under again. And it just kept happening. But one of the things that I realized is that through all those smackdowns, I kept standing, and I got stronger, and I got stronger, and I got stronger. And all those things that I went through, while they were very humbling, they taught me how to see other people with grace, because you never know what could happen to somebody or what they have been through. And I have some experience in a lot of different things, so I can understand and have empathy because of all that.
Yes. I love that. Like, that is the jewel part of our lives. Like, God does use the junk and he turns it to jewels for us, but then that junk that turned into jewels, we now have that power. It is a power for us to see someone and discern and be there for their heart. And you're right. You don't know what people are carrying, even if they have a polished outside. You don't know. You don't know. Even if they don't have a polished outside, you really don't know. And
I'm kind of seeing the more people, it's interesting. There's some people that let it all hang out, but the more people try to appear polished, chances are the more they're broken. It's the ones that are confident, showing you transparency, that are a lot more healed.
yes, that is so true. I was talking to someone because I'm getting ready to do book talks and do speeches. And I get in my head and I get nervous and I have a block. And then I'm like, no, I'm not, I can't. How do I do this? And I've been telling this story all my life. God's been telling it to me. And then someone said, just get out of there. It's already there. You know, God wants to share hearts with people. And then she said, thank you. What? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry for, it's just like when you embrace failing, you can fail forward and realize that every time you fail, it's a chance to learn and it's a chance to grow.
Yeah.
And if it's getting rid of that fear that you're going to fail, I mean, like, you're probably going to fail. Just accept it and then keep going.
Yeah. And it's not about us with our giftedness. Like, when you show up, it's for someone else in that room. And if you don't go and if you don't do you, someone else is missing that. And that's what someone else said to me too. She's like, Georgette, no matter what group you go in front of, you might think they don't need to hear what you have to say, because if they're all that and a bag of chips is so what we think. She's like, you don't know, heart could be sitting in that room, that your message is for them. So go wherever people want you to go and be. So you were in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
How long? So when did you move from there? Or when did you meet your husband?
I met my husband when I was 22. And then he wanted to move. He wanted to get out of Atlanta. And so he wanted to move to South Georgia. And he was going to go work at a resort as a chef at the time. So we got married a little quicker than I had originally wanted. And we moved to South Georgia. And I lived there for 7 years. And then finally got out and moved to Greenville, South Carolina, which was hard, but a wonderful place to live. It was hard because I lost both my parents when we lived there, and that was very difficult to deal with. But we lived there for 9 years. And then my husband decided that he needed a break from law enforcement, and that's what he'd been doing. He'd gotten out of chefing and gotten into law enforcement. But he needed out of that for mental health purposes, so he took a job down here in Stuart, Florida, and I had to start all over for the third time.
Oh, wow. Transition is no joke. No joke.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry about your mom and dad. And that's something you and I resonate with. Actually, on that, we connect, because I lost my mom in 2017 and my dad this past January, a year ago now. And then my husband's a law enforcement officer too, now retired. He's been 6 years this February. So we share that and that understanding of our background. It is hard. First off, the grief levels of losing your parent, you feel like a whole different person in a way. Like I'm still... The other day I was looking at their pictures and getting emotional. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel kind of lost. Like, I'm the oldest one, and now I don't have, like, they're not there at all. It's a weird thing.
It's weird. And I keep wanting to talk to my mom about stuff.
Yeah.
And be like, I would happily have told you that you were right about some things if you didn't have the audacity to die and leave. But now you're forever stuck in that last argument or whatever, and that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, I gain more perspective too the older I get and how important relationships are. And sometimes, guess what? We do the best we can in any given situations, and we are going to fall. And as a parent, I myself struggled and made mistakes and did the best I could with what I had as a single mom. And even in the blended family years where there was lots of acclamations, there was mistakes made, and there's consequences, and there's bruises all of us hold. And I would talk to my mom and dad. Like we're going to ask you a question at the end, and maybe that's one of the people we talk about, but you gain, and then you learn grace becomes even more important for us. Give the person grace. Just love them for who they are and appreciate them in your life. That's what I love to talk to young people about now, right?
That's one of my big lessons to everybody is just like, you need to give people a lot of grace because you need a lot of grace. And again, people need space to make mistakes and grow. And you got to give them opportunities to fail and then rebuild. No one is born perfect, knowing everything. No one is going to be able to never make mistakes. They have to have grace. And you have to forgive them.
Yeah. Yeah. Forgiveness is huge. That was a big part of my own healing journey. Not only did I have to forgive others, but I had to forgive myself.
Right.
It was harder for me to forgive myself than other people for what I recognized in me of how I failed and messed up. So your husband went from a chef, well, that's totally different, to law enforcement. And then you're the spouse of that. Two different things. Like the restaurant business is crazy in its own way. And then law enforcement definitely brings challenges. And yeah, no wonder. So God bless him and thank him for his service. And thank you too, because you served as well as the partner. Because we do. We hold the home, we hold the hearts, we help them and support that. And it's not easy. I never imagined marrying a police officer for me because I'm too afraid.
I married a chef.
You married a chef. That's a whole different entity. Like that's a whole different personality too. So, all right. So then now you guys, so you're here in Stuart, Florida, and you're trying to acclimate yet again. Yeah. And it's a beautiful process, but a painful process.
Very.
Than that. Yeah.
Well, we moved from a place where I had spent so long trying to build up my business for photography up there. And in the end, like I had just opened a studio, and it was a huge, like 2,000 square foot space in this town that was really adorable. And they had like horse-drawn carriage rides at Christmas time. It looks a little Mayberry. The new high school had just been built that was within walking distance, and Ethan was about to go into high school. Like all these beautiful things were happening. And right as it started taking off, that's when we were moving. Yeah. And the move was rough. A lot of things were not handled correctly. And I had a lot of anger held from my husband. And I realized later that he had some anxiety, undealt with issues that we've since been addressing since we moved here. But it took me a year to forgive him because I was so angry about the whole, like, leaving everything and starting from fresh. And so after I got over it, I started building my business again and trying to focus on other people instead of just what had happened to me. And by focusing on others and trying to heal others, I eventually got to the point where I was in a much healthier place myself.
That is not only amazing, but I love the word power. Like that's a powerful thing when the focus is off our pain. And do you know, I have to keep relearning that. We have a tendency to focus on what's hurting most or the loudest. And no, because what we focus on grows. So I love that you've discovered that for yourself. And I had to do that too over and over again. And even just this last year. And that reminds me of Mel Robbins' book, Let Them. It reminds me of God, let go, let God. But her let them, let me, just freed me this last month on something that I was focusing on, of something that wasn't what I wanted it to be yet, or I was feeling sad about it. But so, and now your business is blossoming. You're in a new studio and you're gaining recognition all over the Treasure Coast, and you're going to be having shows. You want to talk about your Women of Wisdom project? So see what happens when you let go and let God and forgive and get the focus on others.
So when I moved here, I was in the middle of a project for women over 40, and I had gotten about half the women up in South Carolina, and I was so upset because I promised them a gallery show, but I wasn't going to be there anymore. So I was bound and determined to complete it so that I could at least say I put your images up in a gallery and they were seen. And I did what I said I was going to do. So I've spent a year here getting the rest of the people to trust me and needed 20 more people in. And I did my first show, and it was in the St. Lucie Voice, which was very sweet of them to cover. And it was really cool to see the community come in and kind of perceptions changed about exactly what I did. And people's faces, like eyes widened and things. They're like, this is way more than what we thought it was going to be. And we needed culture, and we needed this connection with the community. And it was really cool. And so then I did the motherhood project because I wanted to honor my mom. And I realized that women hide and they're not seen. And when they become moms, they really lose themselves. And so I wanted for one day to give them the chance to be seen and heard the way they wanted to. So I took 40 women and I photographed them however they could imagine themselves, whether it was a warrior princess in the middle of a lake, surrounded by their children, whatever it was they wanted, they got. And then I had them write their own stories to tell what they wanted people to know about them. And then we did this big gallery show, and that one was incredible. And it was a huge gallery experience for everybody. They said it was one of the best ones they'd seen at the Martin Arts for that location. And that was really cool. It was kind of a packed event. And when we got mentioned, and I did an article for the Professional Photographer magazine, and they mentioned it in there, and that was really awesome. So this is the final one, and this whole thing was called Celebrate Beauty Earned, and it was about we don't mourn beauty lost, but we celebrate the beauty that's been earned. And it was the 40 over 40 and the Motherhood Project, and now it's the Women of Wisdom. So it's for women over 50, and they get to take kind of the culmination of their life experiences so far. And if they could give one lesson that they need the next generation to know that is they believe is important, what is that lesson they feel like they need to pass on? Mm-hmm. So their images will be displayed next to their quotes of wisdom, and we'll invite the community to come in again and just enjoy and view.
I'm so excited. When is that going to be? Do we have dates or anything yet?
We do as of today. So May 9th at the Jensen Chamber, they have an event center upstairs, and they have graciously agreed to let us use it.
What was the date?
May 9th.
May 9th. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And am I in that one? Is that the one? Oh my gosh. Joanna, I'm so proud of you. Our community, actually communities everywhere need this light on it. And
it's a goal to make it, to get enough attention on it so I can travel and do it in different communities, because I want to collect stories from everywhere.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love story collecting too. We have that in common. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited for this. I really am. I'm really so excited.
Me too.
Oh my gosh. And there is wisdom gleaned the older we get. And it's important for us to pass it down. And I find that the more we have in-person community activities, that encourages the talking and conversation. And I'm kind of sad a little bit about the social media dilemma that's a part of the mental health issues happening. People are not understanding how important it is to have the art of conversation in person. I think those beautiful connections help us see each other. We see the beauty of each other. We appreciate each other. And there is something to be said about that. So I think
conversations in community is part of this project.
Yes. Yes. I love it. So you guys, so what is your husband, what's he doing now? Is he back out there as a chef, or what's he doing?
No, he works in the dive industry, which is kind of his lifelong passion, what he really loves. So he works with international training and supervises a lot of stuff over there, and works over there with them. A little bit easier on him.
Yeah. And you're how many children did you say you have?
I have 3.
Aww.
17 and 14 and 11.
17, 14, and 11. Those are good ages. It goes so fast. When you're in the mix, every day is like super crazy, chaotic, and then you're like, oh my gosh, right? But it's it's a beautiful mess, and it's beautiful, and enjoy every second, Joanna, because we're on the empty nest years, and we have the grandchildren, and it goes so quick. And I would love to have moments where we go back and do something over, like have a do-over, with the wisdom we glean now. So I tell, enjoy the moments, you're taking all those pictures so you have those lifelong memories and appreciation. And I'm telling you, so teenagers, they're a blessing, and it's a crazy time, right?
It is. Yes. We'll go a lot of adjustments trying to go from, I need to instruct my baby on how to do everything, to I've pretty much said everything I need to say, and now I just kind of have to let them figure it out and not
different phase. Yeah.
Not overparenting is hard.
Good at that. My husband was better at that. Like I'm the preventer, so I always want to prevent. So I communicate up front, and he's like, no, they know the rules, they know how to be, and let them. And if they make a mistake, they're gonna have the consequences. And I always say, I don't want them to have the mistake, but no, that's how you
Struggling is important, and it's like I'd rather them make mistakes and struggle at home than go out into the world and hit them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I love it when women doing their passion, I'm sure your family and your children take notice. Do you guys talk about that? You're doing your thing and you're doing it loudly and proudly and beautifully. And do they notice? Like, are they acknowledging this? Have you seen it? I mean, have they said anything like, look at mom and what she's doing? They will.
No, what they do is they pursue their own passions. So it's like, and they're not good at praising me and being like, oh, our mom's amazing, my daughter does. But it's more along the lines of, they see me go doing my stuff. They're like, and I'm writing books and I'm doing this. So they're more like, I guess, following it than talking about it.
But that's awesome. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. And you're doing it, giving it out loud for them to model. They're modeling after you. I love it. That's why it's so important for people to understand where they come from, but also to understand their own giftedness and to ask questions about what the passions are. What do you love? And
they feel like they're almost in competition with me sometimes, which is kind of funny. I'm like, I'm not trying to compete with you. I'm trying to push you forward. I'm a stepping stool for you to launch from. Yeah, you're supposed to surpass me and go higher.
I love that. Yay. Yeah. And it's all what you've learned the hard way. It's all the gems gleaned, all the mistakes turned to successes. I love that. Mm-hmm. So I'm so excited about that Women of Wisdom project. And I love seeing on social media, I love the different women that you share and that you've worked with. And you can see, like, I see them, like, it's so nice. And it's so nice that women are honoring other women. And I just find it empowering for us all.
That's the goal, is to keep encouraging that, uplifting and encouragement, not tearing others down, but seeing how we can raise each person. And I've realized that one of the things I love about this is seeing women come in and when they're ready to try to see themselves in a new light, and then seeing themselves differently and seeing their self-esteem and self-worth go up. Because when they have a solid place of self-worth, they have a good self-love, they can then love other people from that. And when you build confidence in women, they multiply it throughout the community, and they do it for other people. So it's a really cool thing to watch. I feel like you can change an entire community and how it treats each other if you change how the women see themselves.
Exactly. Well said. That is perfect. That is true. And research is documenting that. I hear about that and I read on other articles. What you said is very true.
Yeah.
In action. And I love that. So when people come to you, what sort of projects do you take on, and do you have favorites over other things? I mean, what sort of work do you love to do?
I love photographing anybody who loves to be photographed. Their joy gives me joy. It's a lot harder if someone's comes in all negative and I have to pull them up, which I will do, but it's a lot more fun when someone's just happy to be there. So far as personal projects, there's some stuff that it's very difficult to make, but it's very, the harder the project is to emotionally draining or whatever, sometimes the greater value it has. But I'll do these. Some people will come and tell me their stories, and I'll write parallel, either fairy tales or poems to talk about their traumatic experience, but put it in a way that's palatable for other people to read, to understand the emotions without having to hear all the traumatic stuff that can be overwhelming for other people. And then we'll create an art piece to represent that, what they've been through. And those together it's an ongoing series about being broken and beautiful that I'm working on, but some of these things take months or years to make, just because it pulls so much out, because some people have been very devastated. But that one is, I think, going to be very important whenever it gets finished.
Yes. No.
But I'll photograph anybody doing anything.
Art is healing.
Yeah.
Working on beautiful art. I love that. That's going to be a profound project when it comes.
It is. It's a long time in the making, but I feel like once I have about 10 pieces, I can do a show. Slowly working my way there.
I want to be there. What else was it? Do you love to do like weddings? Do you photography? I know you do a lot of single shots and weddings or birthdays and things like that to mark special occasions.
I do, but I was considered to be more of like a high-end luxury photographer. So I love doing weddings and I love doing events, but the majority of the people in the area, for instance, I make the same from a portrait as I would most people make from a wedding. So I would rather focus on portraits where it's not as exhausting. But if somebody has a budget and we can make these beautiful art pieces of their wedding, if they value the art over just having the wedding documented, I love to photograph those. And I love to do elopements and basically anything that lets me make art.
Yeah, I love it. Yay. Okay. Well, let's see, before we wrap up, any other things on your heart you want to share? Any other life moments that really, you came to a crossroad on something and you went down a different path or had a new aha?
I think I'd get a series of, it's like Yogi Bear, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. I think the main thing is just keep moving forward. So many people like to double question and overthink things. And I wish I'd done this, or I wish I did that. And I was like, none of that stuff matters. What matters is that you keep moving forward. You adjust as you can. You keep your eyes on Jesus. You keep your navigation set where it needs to be. And you just keep taking steps forward. Not everything's going to turn out. You just adjust. You pivot. Don't get stuck. If you find yourself stuck, make some changes and keep going. You're meant to be somewhere. Sometimes the struggle is part of the journey. And just because you hit roadblocks doesn't mean you're not supposed to be there. It may mean that you're building strength. Absolutely. And you need to help others get out.
Absolutely. And I learned too in my own life, sometimes detours were on purpose. Detours were exactly part of the overall plan.
Well, and you look at stories too, it's like it's a boring story to say that we set out on a journey and we made it.
That is absolutely solid true. It is.
I went from point A to B in record time. End of story.
There's no color. No, there's no color or emotion or feeling. Yeah, I agree.
No bumps on the road.
Do you have a favorite?
Sorry.
No. Do you have a favorite book?
I was thinking about that because I loved classics growing up, and I haven't gotten to sit and really read any of the things that I loved classics and loved fantasies, but I think one of them was Jane Eyre, because it's the story of, to me anyways, it was overcoming a lot of hardships. And a love that was hard fought for. Yeah. Not one that was easy, not one that was super romantic, but that was hard fought for.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a more true to life romance.
It is. And I'm rereading Anne of Green Gables, and that's the opposite.
Oh, that's a good one. I loved Anne of Green Gables.
I love her. I love her. She's just herself. Always herself, and showed up big everywhere she went. And then people who people rubbed wrong originally, and someone wasn't nice. She just kept being herself, and they warmed up to her quite quickly. And I take away from that, like, just be you,
just be yourself.
That's how they write back then. Like, I
love that quote. It's just like, just be. I think it's Oscar Wilde. Just be yourself, because everyone else is taken. That's my next question. What's your favorite quote? That sounds like a good one. That one's a good one. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 is like my life verse. It's trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Like that one too. We need to remind ourselves of that one quite a bit. There's a lot that comes at us a lot of times to distract us from our true focus and our true purpose. Well, people seem to think that you're supposed to know everything. You're not. Sometimes faith is not knowing, or having everything lined up. Faith is being in a free fall and trusting that God's going to catch you. Yes. And that you're going to be where you need to be. And it's like, you may be drifting and be like, I don't understand any of this, and I don't know and your faith isn't challenged or growing if you know all the answers. So you have to sometimes just accept that you don't know things, and it's still going to be okay. Yeah, I like that. Joanna, if you could sit down with anyone from the past or present to have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine with, who would it be and why? My mama. Yeah, that's where I was thinking about that too. Mostly so I could show her how awesome I am and I'm superior to my siblings. I love your humor. I love it, but you're serious? I'm like, I should have been the favorite.
Oh my gosh. Now, if you could talk to your younger self or someone in a situation, maybe they don't know their passion yet or what they're good at, or if they're going through transitions like you did, or family, real tough stuff. We have homeless people here in the Treasure Coast, and the numbers are rising. We have children in the schools that come to school every day and they were in a car or a hotel room or somewhere. And what would you say? Like, what would you share with them?
One of the things that I think helped me a lot in staying my course and staying focused is I questioned who I was very young. And I questioned what my faith was very young. And I questioned if I wanted to be a Christian because my parents were Christians, or if it was something that I actually chose and what I actually believed. And I went through all the doubts and things. And then I made decisions about who I was and who I was going to be and what I was going to believe based off of what I felt and what I had in my heart. And I followed that. And after choosing to trust myself and my guts and stuff, is like I could move forward knowing that my faith was solid and who I was solid. And I was building who I was step by step on purpose. So instead of following the crowd or listening to other people, is like you need to be the best version of yourself. You have everything inside of you that you need to be. You just have to call it forward. Everything that you're going to need for life, you already have inside you. You're already complete. You don't need anybody to complete you. You don't need anything to complete you. You can be complete homeless. You just have to decide who you are, what you're going to do, and then start working towards it no matter what gets in the way.
Yes. And there's beauty in that. Oh, I love that. Excellent. That is just perfect. So perfect. So perfect. I thank you, Joanna, for joining us today on Junk to Jewels podcast. Thank you so very much. Where can people find you? What is your website?
Thank you so much for having me too. I appreciate you. You're a fabulous interviewer.
Thank you.
My website is www.joannaleekilgore.com. Number is 864-263-8591. You can find me on Facebook as JoLee Shot Me, or on Instagram as JoLee Shot Me.
Excellent. And I'll have those in the show notes as well, because this is a video on YouTube and we're on all the audio platforms. So we'll have the show notes for follow-up. Joanna, your story is amazing. I'm looking forward to your show and all future shows. And I'm so blessed to know you. Thank you so very much. And yeah.
And the same back to you.
Thank
and I
you.
love this, your book.
Oh my gosh. And I love my photography picture. I love the beautiful woman I get to see. And now when I look in the mirror too, it's like, you know what?
Good.
Jump to Jewels, A Journey from Brokenness and Despair to Beauty and Delight on Amazon, and go to Joanna's website and check her out. She would love to meet you and work with you and talk with you. So everyone have a beautiful day and be blessed.